continue on the point of miracles from a rather individual perspective, because I find this a vital point to look at in the context of investigating what miracles are, the existence of miracles, and how this point has been used. Now, from an individual perspective, what is happening? Say, for instance, you have a disease, you have a manifestation of a problem in your life, and then all of a sudden it is gone. And you have no idea how it's gone. You have also no idea how it came to be, why it has existed, how it was created, and what it represented, what it was showing. Because it's interesting that all kinds of beliefs and concepts and ideas will be created to justify and explain and reason about the existence of a or any God. Such as, for instance, that God wants us to learn our lessons. And that is why, for instance, God is allowing people to suffer. But if now suddenly one is cured miraculously, how is one able to learn any lesson within that? How is one able to understand what caused the symptom and why the symptom existed in the first place? What was its message to self? Because if one is not able to answer such questions for oneself in self-honesty, then inevitably one is in a way forced into believing that I must now be grateful to God for saving me, for curing my disease. But isn't one becoming a slave? Isn't faith creating slaves? Because, as I explained in the first part of this response, when we project our hopes and wishes out there somewhere onto something or someone that is apparently more than, higher than self, wishing to be saved, wishing to be cured, wishing to be forgiven, what power are we left with? And is it really humility to believe in something like a God outside oneself? Is it really humility to believe in some kind of higher power? Or is it simply merely self-abdication? Is it actually inferiority? Because how can something superior exist without something inferior to be its counterpart? And so how can God exist without slaves? It can't. It is the same with medicine and science. People are often hooked onto machines that breathe for them and keep them alive, but is this really mercy? There's many questions we have to ask ourselves, really, honestly, and especially as humanity collectively, as well as individually, each one of us must ask ourselves the following question. If we support life, then we will agree that we want an existence without slaves. We will agree that all slavery must end. Now, for an existence without slaves, what will it take? If there are no slaves, will there be masters? And what will mastery be in an existence of no slaves? Is it possible for each and every single being to discover self-mastery and yet to be equally powerful, equally knowing, equally able? What will it take to have an existence without slaves? What will it take to have an existence where no slaves will be allowed any longer in any way? Does God have a place in such existence? Will each being perhaps be God in equality? It is worth investigating, and if it is only to investigate whether and how a existence without slaves, without harm, without exploitation of life is possible.